What pick is in your wallet? Howdy folks, thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome to the channel. Glad you're here today because I just want to take a brief few minutes to talk about something that, well, I'm not sure gets as much attention as it should. And of course, I'm talking about the humble guitar pick. Now, as guitar players, we tend to obsess about guitars and pickups and bridges and tuners. We obsess about amps. We obsess about pedals. But you know, a lot of times we fail to give a whole lot of thought to what kind of pick we're using. Before we go any further, yeah, you guessed it. This is the part where I humbly ask you to click that subscribe button right down there and ring the bell for notifications. And of course, it absolutely helps me, you know, please the algorithm gods. If you click that thumbs up, I would appreciate that as well. Comments are not only welcome, they are highly appreciated. Let's go ahead and move along. Many years ago, when I was a kid, long before I was Grumpy Mike, back when I was still just slightly annoyed Mike, and I picked up the guitar. I did it because, well, the same reason that I started playing drums. There was a kit in the house. I was intrigued by it. I wanted to learn how to play them, so I did. Same thing with the guitar. There were guitars in the house, and eventually I was intrigued by them and wanted to learn how to play them. I just used the picks that were there. And in my case, that happened to be the ubiquitous Fender thin cellulose, whatever, pick. They're very thin. I don't have one, but yeah, extremely thin and flexible, like this one. But that's what was there, and that's what I used, and frankly, I didn't know any better. But for the longest time, I was used to a Fender thin, and over that time, I became, well, convinced that I needed that flexibility in the pick, that somehow offered me some kind of precision in picking. Don't ask me to explain it. I was young and stupid. But the reality is, I started to learn about things like attack and dynamics. And it was around that time that a friend of mine suggested, well, you need a thicker pick. You need a more substantial pick. That led me to what I used for years and years. Now, like I said, I started out as a drummer. I didn't consider myself a guitarist. But the reality was, as I got more serious about playing guitar, yeah, things like control and attack and dynamics became more important. So I eventually settled on one of these green things. It's a Dunlop. It's a 0.88 millimeter, I believe. Yeah, 0.88 millimeter. Dunlop, what's it called? Tortex pick, and I used this pick for a long time. And it's under a millimeter thick, and it does still have some flexibility, because the truth of the matter is I still had this idea in my head that I needed flexibility in the pick. For playing an electric guitar, yeah, it was very comfortable. It was easy to get used to, and I used it. I went through a ton of these as I was playing guitar in a band for years. Although I will say that at the beginning I asked what pick is in your wallet. Well, this is the pick. I don't know if it'll focus on that, but it's a Clayton, and I'm not sure, it's maybe a little thicker. It might be a 0.9 millimeter pick, but this is the pick I keep in my wallet, more so for sentimental reasons. This was actually the very last pick I used playing a live gig in my band, and I never really wanted to lose it. It's kind of a sentimental thing, so I keep it in my wallet, and at least that way I've always got a pick with me. Now fast forward, because after the band broke up, due to some wrist problems, some tendonitis and stuff, I had quit playing guitar for a fairly serious amount of time. And when I started playing again, I ignored the whole pick thing. I had a few of these lying around and I was playing those, but they got worn out. And well, I did what a lot of people do. I just stole picks from Guitar Center. Yeah, I know. Because I really didn't put a whole lot of emphasis on the picks, and they had enough rigidity to them. They're still pretty flexible, pretty thin. Then I started this channel, and now all of a sudden I'm sitting here on camera and I'm releasing to the world me, mediocrely playing guitar. So yeah, I've got to step up my game. And all of a sudden it occurred to me, I need to really focus on my control. I keep focusing on this hand, getting that muscle memory down, and I wasn't focusing on this hand. And when I did, it led me down a rabbit hole. All of a sudden I realized I need something that works better for me as far as a pick goes. My biggest problem, well, it was getting a grip. All right, so you may notice Bubbles sitting here. Bubbles decided she really wanted to be in the video and would not shut up until she was. So Bubbles is going to join us for this next little section. So here's what happened. When I started playing guitar again, one of the things that I really had not taken into account was the fact that, well, I had done a lot of damage to my hands. I'd broken a lot of bones, smashed a lot of things, bent fingers back way further than they were supposed to. And a lot of that damage, a lot of the abuse happened to be this index finger and this thumb. And that caused a little bit of a problem, because as I was trying to hold the pick and playing, it just wanted to rotate, and I just couldn't get a good enough purchase on the pick to keep it from doing so. Well, all I need to do is find a good pick that has, a textured area up here that I can get a better grip on. And that's when I found a Dunlop Flow pick. It's a 0.9 millimeter pick, and it does have texture on it. And I thought, hey, this is the answer to my prayers. I'm not going to have any problems with this. And sure enough, it did much better. However, as you can see, it's a smaller pick. It's a different shape than I'm used to. That kind of, well, I don't want to say it was a problem. It just wasn't the most comfortable thing for me. It just still wasn't quite right. So I looked for something along the same lines, but a more familiar shape. What I came across was the Gravity, what's this called? Classic, a Gravity Classic 0.9 millimeter. And it does, just like the Flow, it's got some texture to it. And I really liked this pick. I thought, hey, this is it. I'm home. However, I got schooled. And you know who schooled me? Well, the Tone King schooled me. All right, Bubbles is back in her condo. That's what we call it. But yeah, the Tone King schooled me. And he did it without even trying because he sent me some pics. Among the pics that he sent to me, he sent me one of his signature Vpix, the TTK-V. And this pic is a whole lot thicker. It's over 1 millimeter thick, or maybe right at. I'm not sure exactly what the thickness on this is, but definitely thicker than what I was used to. And I started playing it, and wow, I fell in love. Now, the interesting thing is there's no texture. The only difference between this and the earlier picks I was using is that it's thicker, it's more rigid. All of a sudden, I realized, wow, I'm able to grip this pick much better than, say, a 0.88 millimeter Dunlop Tortex pick. I ordered more of them. I've got a few of them. I wore the one that he sent me completely out. It's around here somewhere, but it's totally rounded off at the end. I just wore the thing out. And I was able to grip it. I was able to play with it. It was so comfortable. I was able to have much more control with it. I played better using this pick. And it slowly started to occur to me that the thickness of the pick played a huge role. Now, I've used the TTK-V for a year, probably more than a year now, and I've been completely happy with it. However, I, on a whim, because I really like the Vpix, and I do want to point out, this video is not in any way sponsored by Vpix. They don't know who I am. I'm just saying this is something I really like. I'm not being paid for that. But I decided something popped up. It might have even been an Amazon thing, but I saw a variety pack of Vpix, ranging in sizes and shapes and whatnot. And the price was right. I said, you know what, let me go ahead and buy it. When I did, it led me to a whole nother level. Amongst the picks, and about the thickest pick that came in that variety pack, it is the Vpix Screamer. It's about 2 millimeters at least thick, way thicker than any pick I have ever used before in my life. And I said, you know what, let me go ahead and give it a try. First and foremost, again, it's a different shape. I call it a tricorn pick, kind of like a tricorn hat, and that whole colonial thing. But yes, you have 3 points on this pick that are basically the same. So right there, it's like, okay, you wear 1 point out, you go to the neck, the pick's going to last you longer, or at least that's the theory. I started playing with it, and right away, it's just like, oh, I get it. All those years that I watched YouTube videos of really good guitarists, and they're like, oh, I'm playing with this 3.5 millimeter behemoth. And I'm like, how do you do that? Well, I'm starting to get it. It's really comfortable to use, and I've been using this pick for a few months now, and I really like it. It has now become my go-to, even though I have to say, I still use the TTKV, but I really like this pick, and I've gotten to the point where I realize I'm gonna have to order some more of these because I am starting to wear it out a little bit. I've really gotten comfortable using a what's at least a 2 millimeter. I think that's just a guess. I could probably not be lazy and look it up, but I'm guessing this is about 2 millimeters thick. Uh, a pick I never thought I would be comfortable with or use on a regular basis. And that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. Just because you don't think it's going to work for you, if you haven't tried it, well, you don't know. I'm sure I'm going to order at least a couple of more of these. I'm going to get a couple of more of the TTKVs. But on top of that, I'm going to look for something I haven't tried yet. I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone, if you will, and see if maybe something a little thicker, something a different shape, maybe something that's thicker with some texture, a different material. The point is, you need to experiment. You need to try, because I didn't know what I would like, and I was quite surprised by what I did end up liking. If you play with a pick, and by the way, I should point out, you don't need a pick to play guitar. You don't. You got these. You can play a guitar with these. But for now, picks are important to me. Finding the right pick is important to me, and never ever just deciding this is the only pick I'll ever use from here on out. No, just keep experimenting, because you never know when you're going to find something better. Anyway, I'm going to shut up about picks. I'm just going to go ahead and say, be good. Let's all just be good. Take care.